An unknown error has occurred.
Thank you for choosing to let me know. This is like a refresher. It's just like there's no action in this.
Slow it down. Alrighty. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 35 of the Unknown Era podcast. I, of course, am your host, Martin, and with me is Roddy. I mixed it up this time.
Oh, God.
Roddy.
What? I don't like this change.
It's your voice. I introduced you first. You don't really. And Rick.
See, before we
I think
had it
you
all
confused yourself as
alphabetical and shit. But now you're just mixing that up. What are we doing? The Dewey Decimal System now?
I do.
Whatever you do.
I do whatever I want.
Yeah. See?
But hi. Every week we bring to you our musings as we challenge each other to watch a different thing, watch or listen, whatever. Different entertainment media, whatever thing, consume it. We challenge each other to do that. I just like making the premise as complicated as possible. We challenge each other to check out something. Maybe we haven't seen it before, or maybe we have. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. And then we just sit and talk about it. And we hope that you will join in on our conversation. You can do that by obviously following the podcast, talking in the comments, or becoming a patron over on our Patreon, patreon.com/unknownerafilms, where you can get all the podcasts and all our content a week early just for $1. And that money goes to support us and make our content better and make new content that we can bring to you. That's my selling point. But of course, yeah, so last week we talked about Hard Boiled.
Yeah.
Which was Roddy's.
Fantastic.
Which was Roddy's thing. Oh, last week we didn't mention what you were going to have us watch. Totally forgot that. It was because Hard Boiled was such a long...
Last week?
Yeah, exactly. Last week.
Gushing and gushing.
This is my Friday. This is my Friday outfit.
We just don't have any other clothes. That's just legit what it is. Or we just don't do the laundry. Yeah.
That's two problems there.
This is yeah. But anyways, I totally forgot to do that. Oh well, they won't know.
It'll be on the title.
They won't know for a whole...
It'll be on the title.
They won't know for a whole week what we're going to talk about.
Fix it in post, Martin.
So take this
Now
snippet.
you're making me...
Take this,
Now you're making me
take
do
the snippet, add it on, and then no one will notice
Now
that
you
we
make
said
me
the
do...
same thing.
Now you're making me do extra work. Anyways. Last week we did we talked about Hard Boiled, John Woo action movie.
Yes.
This week is Rick's turn. Rick, what did you have us check out?
I had these guys watch the first 3 episodes of the television show Please Like Me, which is on Netflix conveniently.
Yeah.
So that
All
we
of the
don't have to
seasons.
go and steal things.
Well, I mean, we didn't.
Didn't have to.
No.
We did, though.
Someone else did for us, for Hard Boiled. Because it was on YouTube. No, Please Like Me, yeah. It's on all 4 seasons are on.
Yeah. Yeah, and
on Netflix.
I had finished it recently, all of it, and thought it was wonderful.
No.
And I sort of just wanted to get more people to watch it. More people hooked.
How'd you run into it? Was it just a Netflix recommendation or was it word of mouth?
It was word of mouth. A guy who works with my roommate had sort of suggested I'd been looking at it for, it was always like one of the top ones. And I'm like, yeah, you should probably, like, what is it? I don't know. Honestly, the title,
Yeah.
like, I'm not, when you see it on Netflix, it's just, Please Like Me is just the guy's face. And you're like,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem super interesting.
It says a lot about it. It makes
I don't want
sense.
to watch a show about a person who's just like, please like me. I don't like myself. Please like me. And it's like, it's not that. It's not that TV show. It's sort of that.
It shows
It's
how
sort of
titles
that.
are.
Sort of, but
not really.
So
not
it's
as
like
mixed.
that, but not as annoying as it sounds.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
just like one super insecure character. It's like
It's
one.
like several.
Yeah. But they're all insecure in different ways and secure in other ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we go on to... I keep
the factoids.
The facts of the Australian television show.
Fact number one:
this
their
is-
accent has gotten lesser.
Marty's facts of
Life.
life. No, so Please Like Me, 4 seasons, as we said. Total of 32 episodes. The first season has 6, then it's 10, then 10, then 6. Interesting pattern. But I feel like with Australian and British shows, one's not seasons, it's series.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got series 1, series 2. Short, like that was the original concept, is like doing like a season is like 7 episodes.
Yeah, I think the BBC used to do like
And they get
6
and they
or
get through
13 or something.
and they get through a whole arc in those 6 episodes.
very
And like
efficient.
this show is only half an hour long, less obviously, but it's only that long.
Yeah, because
But-
you don't need to drag it out.
No, exactly.
You don't.
It's an Australian comedy on ABC, which is not American Broadcast Company. It's Australian Broadcasting. I was confused when I was first looking up this stuff, and I saw ABC, and I was like, but
Yeah.
they're all Australian.
What about how many countries have ABC?
It's
The Austrian.
yeah, exactly. It started in 2013 and finished last year
Uh-huh.
with its final season. It was created by Josh Thomas, who is the creator. He's also one of the writers. He is also the main actor. He's everything in this show. He plays the lead character, Josh.
It was crazy. It's crazy.
And then his roommate in the show, Tom, is he plays Tom in the show. His real name's Tom, and he's one of the other writers. So it's this kind of like group effort. And then all the episodes are actually directed by either Josh or another director named Matthew Seville. But it's really interesting because once you actually watch the show and you see who it's about and everything, it's just a group of 20-year-olds. And then to realize that
it's the group of 20-year-olds.
these 20-something-year-olds are making the show is actually kind of incredible. But yeah, so you had us watch the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's got a nice. I think it has a nice little arc for 3
I think it really does.
without dragging you
Yeah.
into like watching so
Also,
much.
the thing now that I'm thinking about it, it's like that's half the season.
It is, yeah.
So and it's a good arc.
Yeah.
So Rick, you've seen the entire series.
Yeah.
Roddy,
Yeah.
you've seen it. I was the only one that hadn't watched it at all.
Yeah.
So first thing I'm going to say
we'll try not
is
to spoil everything.
first thing I'm going to say is that we will be spoiling these 3 episodes, but I don't want spoilers for the rest of the series from either of you because I got hooked.
Yeah.
I actually got hooked, and I said this to Rick before. I watched the first episode. And I was like, I don't think I'm into this. And then after the 3rd episode, I was like, I keep watching this.
I want to know the change. What changed?
Well, my notes. So the first episode is called Rhubarb and Custard.
Oh
So
yeah, they got a great little food thing going
Yeah.
on.
Is that throughout all the seasons, or is
Yeah.
it just
They,
the first
they
season?
switch it up slightly.
Yeah, so all
no,
the
but
episodes
everything
are.
that's chosen, it is things that you can eat and digest.
Yeah.
Well, it's also things that they eat in the show. In the first episode, there is a scene where they're eating rhubarb and custard. In the second episode, there is a part where they're eating French toast. In the third episode, there is a part where they're eating.
Yeah, he could just make
sorry, I mean,
everything.
Portuguese
I mean, like
custard
the little
tarts.
introduction thing. It's like dancing is a fun little
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's always a
introduction thing.
different
always
intro.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually food based.
Yeah. So the show. Well, actually, I don't even like. Should I talk about? I'm usually the one that talks about the plot, but I didn't know anything about this, so I don't know if one of you guys wants to do that
Go
instead
Rick, go Rick.
to kind of just
It's your
explain.
about
TV
the
show
plot?
pick.
Yeah. So like with the first episode, the first instance that we see of our main character and kind of how the first episode develops.
Well, I mean, the first episode is sort of like sort of simple.
It's a good pilot.
It's like he's confronted by his girlfriend who's breaking up with him that he's gay,
Yeah.
and he needs to just like accept that.
He's like, what? No.
Like, no, I'm not. But I mean, that's like the whole idea of the first episode. It's just sort of that, and then the other.
The main character, Josh, it's a very. This was the thing when I first was like trying to grasp the show, because one of the first things I said was I don't like the people.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just like, these are all shitty people. Like that was my first instinct, where I was just like, just the way that they
I can see that comment.
interact with each other and interact with other people. It's like, yeah, it was just like, that was just my first reaction was just like, but they're smart and they're witty and they're interesting. I will say that
They're realistically shitty.
Well, that's the thing.
They are
The more I
realistically
thought
shitty.
about it,
Yeah.
the more I'm like,
That-
he's sometimes shitty to some people, but
Yeah.
the more I thought about my early 20s, I'm like, that is very much a whose
Yeah.
shoes are you in?
As soon as like I watched the second episode and then so on, you really do start to see how realistic some of these characters are, or even if they're not realistic, they are the characters that are in the show are what people, I think, the impulsive versions of what real people would be like. It's like, there's Josh, who is coming to grips with the fact that he's gay, accepting that, but then he is very quick to just not put people down, but just to immediately kind of what's the word? He immediately just shuts. Like as soon as people say something to him, he immediately just
He's like a snarky comeback.
he immediately
Yeah.
just like comes
Makes
back
sense.
at them.
Like I find
in
most
some
people,
way.
I find most people that have snarky comebacks, usually it's more of like a self-defense mechanism.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's
but it's like it's the amped up version of that, and same with like his roommate Tom, who is we immediately meet him, and the first within the conversation is you automatically see the relationship between Tom and Josh, but then after that they talk about how he needs to break up with his girlfriend, and that becomes the prime focus of that character, is how he needs to do that. And it's like an amped up version, because normal conversation we would assume, obviously because it's a TV show, but normal conversation would be like, you should do that. It's like, yeah. Weeks later, nothing happens. Oh, you should do that. While this is like every other conversation is, you need to do that. And he's the type of character who's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. No, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not.
Like,
and
you need to do it today.
yeah, so it's kind of the amped up versions, I think, of these characters. So
What was happening in the first episode?
his
Yeah,
girlfriend
like-
breaks up with him. Claire breaks up with Josh. He then goes and sees Tom at work. He then meets this guy who comes crying into the office,
which is great.
who
Yeah.
we find out is Jeff.
Yeah.
Who
Jeff's
then
the best.
Racist.
Yes.
who then
Yes.
integrates himself into Tom and Josh's friendship. They talk about how Tom needs to break up with his girlfriend, and then they go back to their apartment, or their flat. She shows up. They start to argue. They go into the room. They start having loud sex.
The best. See,
And-
with me with this show, it's like the plot. It's good. It's very
Yeah.
to the character. It's character driven, but like there's so many little sprinkling of like little moments that like make them kind of well defined.
I love the awkward moment between Josh and Jeff while Tom and Maeve are having sex.
Yeah,
And
he's like, I can't possibly imagine him being that good.
yeah, it's not that. I don't think it's that. I think it's they can't possibly be having fun.
Yeah.
Like it's something like that. And then they start talking about
What does he say?
oh no, Jeff just immediately comes out. He's like, what do you he asks Josh, like, what do you do? And Josh like says, I forget what he says, and then it's just silent, and then Jeff is just like, well, I'm gay.
What does he say? He's like, woo, not that. He says something very awkward.
He's like,
It's like, that's nice.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice. Yeah, Josh is he's like, awkward incarnate. Like everything about him is so.
But not to a point of cringe. I
No,
find.
it's not to a point of
No.
cringe. It's to a point
Yeah.
of like I understand where you're. To me, it's like what I eventually loved about the character, because at first I was like, you're so annoying, but what I eventually loved about the character is like he's acted so well and written so well by the creator of the show that the awkwardness and kind of anxiety of how he interacts with people is very realistic, but more back of your mind realistic, where it's like what you would really want to say in that moment, but you're too nervous about actually saying it. He just has, word vomit all the time. And yeah, it's not cringeworthy. It's just awkward to a hard truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does it with mostly with lots of degrees of levity.
Mm-hmm.
Like his delivery, it's not like this super awkward guy stumbling and saying super awkward things. He's just sort of like blah 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 blah, and you're like, those are really awkward things to say.
Mm-hmm. Because
Wow.
then eventually what happens is Jeff says he's gay, and then they talk. I don't know if they talk really about that, but I think they talk about him breaking up with his girlfriend. And he's like, "Can I stay over?" It's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
well,
like,
we don't really have any
Things move
room."
so quick in this
Things
first
do-
episode.
yeah.
Like it just speeds through, and you're like, yeah.
It's like, we don't really have any room. He's like, "Well, you got a big bed. I could just share that." And then you're like, "Oh, okay. Well,
Let's see what
we'll see what's
happens."
gonna happen." And then, at first, I was like, at first, Jeff is just like, is the audience for up until he was like, "I want to be in your bed." I was like, I'm with Jeff. All these characters seem fucking weird, but I'm just like sitting around and watching the tragedy happen around me. And then as soon as he was like, "Yeah, I want to be in your bed," it's like, okay, now this is an interesting like little grenade popped into this world that is starting to develop.
Yeah.
And then my favorite, at first I was like, I was not into it, but then when Jeff gets into Josh's bedroom, and he just takes off his clothes to his underwear and just lies in bed. But it's a wide shot from one side of the room where you can see the doorway. You see Jeff take off his clothes and get in his underwear, and then exit frame, and then Josh grabs his clothes, goes behind the door, and you can just see like his shoulder up.
Yeah.
And he's changing into his pajamas.
Yeah.
And it's like that for like a couple minutes, and then it just cuts the reverse angle of Jeff
Just splayed on the
splayed
bed.
on the bed just watching, and then it cuts back.
What I love about that is like, I mean, just like aesthetically, Jeff is just fucking gorgeous.
Yes. Well,
And Josh is just like this sort of like regular looking dude who's
But
just
they
like
play on that.
I know,
like,
and he's just
and
like
that's so realistic.
thrown in. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the comedy
Well, 'cause
of it.
every
And
time-
he's like thrown into this situation where it's like this could be your first chance to explore
Yeah,
your
that's the
potentially new identity.
That's the first
and it's just
time-
like this amazing opportunity. It's like, how the fuck are you gonna deal with this?
Every time someone meets Jeff, the very first thing they say is, "You're really handsome."
No, yeah. I think there's something that happens later where it's like him having a conversation, and this is a perfect line. It's like every time I meet like a pretty person, I'm just and they show interest. I guess I was like, "What are you hiding?" I was like, but like that's a very real thing. Like I think anyone who has a little bit of insecurity in them, when they meet someone that they feel like is like above their league or whatnot, that is a common thing that runs in your head. It's like, what's up? This person's too nice.
Yeah, what do they want?
So,
They're gonna want me to do something, are they?
With what you were saying about delivery, I think for at least the first episode, best delivery has to be when they start making out, and then Jeff is like, "Do you taste blood?" And then it is a callback to earlier where Jeff said, or what Josh said, that he cut himself shaving. That is one of the best deliveries of like that awkwardness, but too super honest. Because he's just like, "Got myself shaving this morning," and then it's like, okay. And then he just like sits up, covers it with a napkin. What do we do now?
Like, do we keep going?
Do we keep going? And he's like, I'm kind of tired. He's like, okay. Lays back down. That awkwardness, but you feel so you feel with Josh because you're like, I don't know what the fuck to do now if I was in this situation.
You just go to sleep?
Yeah.
Keep fooling around?
Little spoon, big spoon? I don't know. Just grabs his arm, wraps it around him. He's like, well, I feel like two of the same size. I don't think that would work.
That was honestly, when they delivered that line, I'm just like, I wish I thought of that line, because that's like the most like perfect like exploration. Like, why is it called
Big
like,
spoon,
a
little spoon?
Like,
they wouldn't
it's
fit.
Like,
it should be the same size spoon.
Yeah, I was like, that's classic.
And then you have Josh has all these little tiny character moments where you can see he like actually is happy, like in that moment where he says that, but then it's clear that Jeff is asleep. So then he goes, and he just like cuddles into him.
Yeah.
So then wake up the next morning, and what I think is a brilliant, actually, like everything, like the past couple episodes I've said, cinematography works so well when it works with the story. And this show is shot like for what I would assume would be not that big of a budget.
Well, the thing, you're talking like some, I don't know the details of Australian media.
Yeah.
But I don't see much coming out.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And I was very much like, wow, this is gorgeous.
It's really
and actually,
it's really shot.
Cinematography actually tells a story, because I found like many moments when like they're trying to like separate, like show kind of like isolation of characters. They would actually have physical objects blocking the frame to like separate them.
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes use like a brick pillar to like separate them when things are awkward. Like you can see one clearly and one's on the other side. Like there's all these careful detail and like getting the feeling across of what these characters are feeling.
But specifically when Josh wakes up and he goes to the washroom and he brushes his teeth and he finally turns on his phone, and then he like gets a bunch of voicemails and he's listening to him, and it's just a slow dolly in as he's slowly brushing his teeth faster and faster and faster until he gets to his very first message, where then he just like spits, turns around and goes, I need you to drive me to the hospital. Because then we find out that his mom attempted suicide.
It's the combination of, I think also with the show for me, why I had to watch it all the way through. It's like one of the few shows that tackle like even little little awkward things like anxiety, like body issues, but like mental illness in a very realistic light compared to any other show I've watched. It's only like this show and another show that I thought tackled mental illness well.
Yeah.
This one tackles it with like a lot of heart and even smaller trivial things with like a lot of bigger things.
Yeah. Totally
Like
agree.
that whole phone message thing, I was like, that's very real. Like when you like if you ever been in that situation and like all of a sudden like you just left your phone away and then you get this bombardment text. I was like, this, like that's why when I think when they're writing, it's horrifying, but like I feel like I'm wondering like what, because they are so involved in like what's based off of life, what's based off thing, because like there has to be moments that are inspired by real life, because like there's so many little things that like are just too real.
It's especially for somebody in their, I mean, that's what I like. It feels like early mid-20s.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, it's one of those things that like as an audience member, like there's similar things, heartbreaking, like losses that happen that I think probably happen to a lot of people when they're in their 20s, like probably grandparents, parents. Like when shit like this happens, it's sort of that it's maybe the first time you have to struggle with that, like you're already struggling with being an adult, and then you have all of this, like these massive things that nobody is ever fucking prepared for crush down on you, and it's like I think that was one of the things that got me into the show, like immediately.
And
I'm
nothing's
like,
ever dramatized. Like drama happens, but it's not like the whole thing with him. Even the whole like coming out process for him was so straightforward. Like it was nothing. There was no hysterics. There was no like things they were just brutally honest with each other, and like they moved straight to it. Like normally, like I would find like to go back to like Boondocks a few weeks back. like that's it's so like trivial, like it's part of the character, but so trivial that you know nothing about it. But in this show, it's like it's there, it's honest, and it's like feels more lived in than in comparison. And yeah, that's what I liked about it. Like everything is, no one seems like a fake character, even the people you're supposed to hate, like Neve. I was like, I hate you, Neve.
She just gets better.
But I'm like, but like I know many of my friends that like had a Neve, and I hated your guts.
Yeah,
It's just.
But she gets better. That's the thing.
Don't spoil it, Rick.
Sorry.
But
It's always awful.
But as much as like, yeah, I was like, I hate this character because I know people that are like that.
Yeah.
And I know people that are like Tom.
Yeah.
And
But they like little details. Remember,
Yeah.
like they made her character so rounded, and you know her just by like dialogue of like, oh, she's sad because she got kicked out of the poetry group. So in your head, you're like, what do you have to do to get kicked out of the poetry group? Like,
as soon
what?
as she showed up and started, that sounds bad. But as soon as she showed up and started talking, I immediately knew what type of character she was.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Very, very succinct.
Yeah. But in terms of plot, so what then happens is basically Josh. Oh, we meet Josh's dad
But even
and his girlfriend who, as soon as May came on the screen, I wrote in my giant letters, "I love May."
same.
Amazing.
Yeah, I wrote
May
that
is
too.
amazing.
Yeah, like she gets better lines. Like in the there's one in the third episode
so
where she had the
fucking
best
funny.
line ever. I think it's all. When we're talking about now, or when we talk about that episode, there's like a line in there. I was just
We'll
like,
talk
I
about
remember it.
when we get to the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like she's just such a real. She was like kind of the uplifting part for me because the whole time I was like, okay, I can see where these shows going, and some of these characters are kind of like. As soon as I met the dad, I was like, such an asshole, but I can see why.
But he's
Josh
like
is
such a
like
real
that.
dad.
Yeah, he's such
know.
a real
It's
person.
just,
That's the thing is like after like seeing kind of like what I thought would be like stereotypical characters and
Well,
like
that's the thing.
kind of like
It's so easy to
larger
make
than
May
life.
a stereotype.
I know.
So easy, but then when they don't, you're like
Wow.
so happy.
Yeah.
It was, but it was because she was brutally honest. It made me like her more because she was pointing out the faults, even if it was just of one character of Josh's dad. Even if it was just one character, she was the only character in the show that was just like, you're being stupid
Yeah.
to anyone, while everybody else is being stupid in some way. But that's because people are dumb. And even like Claire comes back and talks to Josh, and they joke around, and she asks like, well, did you enjoy having sex with me? And
It's like, I guess.
I guess,
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
like my
But
mom just tried to commit suicide, so I should be able to get out of this conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I don't know, the characters for me at first were just like, y'all need to shut the fuck up. but then they turned for me. They really
Yeah.
did turn for me because then I was like, I want to see how you either get better or what else happens to you.
It's because I think what it is that
suddenly become interesting.
Yeah.
because the thing is that it's all set up in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're seeing things happen to them, not really react. And so when you finally get to see them react and show their true colors, you're able to like go like, oh, like with Tom, you think, oh, he's just like kind of like, I'll do it. I Google giraffes, right? But then like the scene, like there's a scene where like he's in the car ride before he drives him to the hospital, and then he's like, it was a very honest conversation with two friends. Like, so we're not going to
I
talk
did like
about like this because you're deeply traumatized. It's like, yeah, we're not going to talk about it.
I
Like,
did really
that's-
like the fact that instead of having their friend conversation about like, okay, so you're gay, they just skipped over it. They're just like, so we're not going to talk about the fact that you had a man in your bed last night. Like at least in that episode.
Yeah,
They
like-
just like, nope.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
was
okay.
like it showed the thing about this show is like it's not that many shows are able to all of a sudden create characters that you feel like have a history.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like
Yeah,
these
yeah.
ones, like they seem like, oh, they've been on this forever. They're
Yeah,
friends
as soon
forever.
as you
Yeah.
as soon as you see them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like even with Claire, like towards the end, like their little banter at the vending machine, it was so like relaxed. Like it wasn't tense. You would think it would be tense, right?
Yeah.
Like suicide, just broke up, he's gay, he's like, and then it's just very light.
But it's you as an audience having all that information. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time I was thinking, like, this is all moving so fast and everybody's comfortable with it. I would be freaking out. But
They
that's
are. It's all.
yeah.
But like it's the thing is like you think that, but then you see like there's like an actual, like I just want to be in this writer's room when I saw the shows, because like how do you plot this? Things that seem trivial actually matter later on. It's like it's just such a well written show.
Yeah.
Like it just makes me so envious.
I know.
It's
Yeah, me
just
too.
so beautiful written.
So
then,
yeah.
So then, it's proposed. So then the proposition, because Josh's mom can't be left alone, it's either someone has to move in with her. So Josh decides. That
Doesn't really have a choice.
doesn't really have a choice, but does the bigger thing and moves in with her. And the very end of this episode, I think the very end of this episode was what changed me, because he then walks onto his porch, sits down, has a moment that's really powerful. Yeah. And I was like, that's what I was waiting for. And then he walks in, and then it's just like, yeah, conversation.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
and then obviously the funny thing of like, oh, you're here. Oh, he never left. Yeah, I made you guys spaghetti. It's your favorite. Like, you like it. He's like, actually, I really do like it. All right, bye.
Yeah,
and then there's Tom and Josh thing they're eating, and I thought there was gonna be like a, I gotta move out cliffhanger, and Tom would be upset about that, but it was more like, wow, he just was like, that's really good of you. Because then later in a later episode, it's like, no, Josh still technically lives here and his dad's paying for it.
Yeah.
So that's why. I thought it was going to turn into like a Tom now needs to find a roommate sort of thing.
Yeah, no,
but yeah.
Because the thing is, like, you know how usually sometimes things are just like very plot driven? Like this one is like I feel like everything in the show is character driven. Nothing is like plot contrivance. It's everything seems based on the character.
Events that happen because of the characters.
Yeah, because they choose to do something or who they are. Like,
it's never like the tornadoes coming through the room.
Like I said, like there's things that are real. Oh, go ahead.
Characters are tornadoes.
It's awesome because they create like the intimacy with the cast
so intimate.
Quick.
Yeah.
That it's so like when that happens. So like when it's like your mother is like attempted suicide, like that is the storm for everybody.
Yeah.
But it's just one person's decision.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and that's what fucking life is, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But that's what fucking life is.
It's the details that make this, like you said, the fact that, like, I think anyone has been, anytime it had been something terrible, there's been that moment where, like, you hear something terrible, you look at who's around you, you keep calm, and like, yeah, let's do this. And then when you have a moment to yourself, like you did at the end, you pause because you just need it. And I think the little moments are great. Like, I think I wrote all the little moments. I think there was one where, like, the dad's reaction showing his character more when he finds out. Like, you see Josh kind of like, he's pretty like nonchalant. He's just like, whatever, like things just bounce off him. Meanwhile, the dad is all like, it's my fault. What did I do? And like you see his kind of worry nature. And then like with May, what made her complex is there's a scene where like, it's not your fault. She has a mental disorder. And it was just like,
she's the only person to say that shit.
That was just like a great line.
Another little moment for me was when we see Josh's dad and he comes into the hospital and he greets Tom and Josh. He shakes both their hands. He doesn't hug his son. He just shakes his hand like a grown adult. As soon as I saw that, I was like, interesting.
Yeah. See, like little details. Like the thing is, like I didn't pick up on that, but like based on your experiences, you like how like whatever you can pick up on the little things that they were probably trying to show. Because like you said, that's a pretty big character moment. Like it shows the relationship a lot. If a dad chooses to handshake rather than hug.
Yeah.
In any situation, I mean, I can't imagine shaking my father's hand.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The show like tackles that.
I've
like,
shaken my dad's hand before, but it's not it's not a thing of love. It's a thing of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you immediately see, like, yeah, your mom's in the hospital, they don't state immediately that they're separated.
Yeah.
But immediately as soon as you see the dad and he just goes, Josh, it's like, oh, they have their relationship is a thing. Okay.
Well, actually, maybe is it the well, that's interesting. So when he's outed, this is sort of like moving along. But when Jeff outs him...
Oh, man, why are you going to that? That's so far.
That's
Sorry.
episode 3. We're not...
Sorry.
Episode 2.
But like,
episode
wait,
2 is one of my
before we
favorites.
go on to the episode 2.
Nope, nothing.
Like, again, the details, like the hospital, like, I thought it was a great detail showing her, like, hold this, like, napkin as she throws up.
Barfing.
Because in my head, like, that's a scene every day in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, people having a kidney basin, throwing up in it, wiping it off. I was like, that's a scene. And, like, having Josh come in and having to watch that, I'm like, it's a hard thing to do as well, to see that. And I thought, like, the research, the experience, I was like, it has to be like lived.
Yeah,
or you're just a wonderful writer and able to just jump into anyone's shoes.
All right, we cover the next 2 episodes.
Yeah,
really quick. We've been talking more about like overall kind of things, but let's like basically just
hit the points.
Hit the points. Episode 2, French Toast. Fucking Josh's mom breaking down in an elevator.
That was great.
Before a psychiatrist meeting. That was great.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful point.
She was like shaking.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so good.
And it's just like, yeah, it's a good character moment. Like really, this is definitely a show that's driven by character development, not plot, because the plot is just the characters living their lives.
We don't even know what they do.
Exactly.
No.
There's no the episode doesn't have a plot that's driving forward, and there's not like there's sort of an A and B plot, but it's not a plot. It's like the A story is these characters and the B story is these characters. Mm-hmm. So like, in episode 2, the A story is, Josh and Jeff. This is when they go on their date, and the B story is Josh's mom and Aunt Peg.
Yes,
and then a little bit of Claire and Tom, which as soon as it's funny how in episode 1 they don't interact at all, and in episode 2 they have one phone call conversation. I immediately went, they're hooking up. Immediately I was just like, they're gonna get together. That one phone call about like, hey, I'm not Josh's girlfriend, but like I feel obligated to come over. I was just like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do something. Like it's just too obvious. But maybe it's just like
part of that is being just like they're young and horny.
Yeah, exactly. But like he doesn't want to be with his girlfriend. She's single now.
But like the one thing that did capture that, like that didn't seem as predictable, or not for the sake of plot, is that there was a line where like, oh, you're here, like because they hang out a little bit more. And like she's like, I'm like here, I stop over because like just so alone. And I was like, yeah. So I was like, yeah, that's exactly why she's alone. That's why she's doing that, and that's probably why they're hooking up, because they're both in a very fragile state.
Yeah, got nowhere to be.
Fucking Aunt Peg. What an introduction!
Kind of the worst.
What a introduction to a character where it's like super Christian. And then just talking about testicle size. Yeah. And that whole time I'm like, I'm on Josh's side. This is fucking weird.
Yeah.
So there was that. I wrote down a line. It was when they were at the dinner. And I can't remember what the context is, but the line is how your tummy is feeling. And I just burst out laughing last night when I was watching it. And I'm trying to remember what the fuck it was from. It's like they go to dinner and then Jeff isn't hungry.
It bugged me so much. I was like, that's a real life thing for me. Like, if we're going to dinner, you need to eat. I'm not. You're just watching me eat. That's so awkward. It's like a deal breaker. No. And then like, here's the water. Like, I'll take the water. You took the full one. It's like, so I'm sorry.
I'm trying to remember what the context was, but it was just it was just something that Josh said where he's just like,
but it's
it's how your tummy is feeling. And I just burst out laughing. I don't even remember
The
what
show-
the fuck it was.
The show is real, like on point with its relationships. Like even when you look at like Jeff and Josh, there's like things in there like that should not work. This is
The weirdest thing about episode 2, and I don't fucking understand it, is why does Jeff kiss Claire on the forehead?
I think that's just him.
That was a weird moment for me. That was
When he comes in and gives her,
he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, you're Josh's ex-girlfriend," and then he just like walks up to her and kisses her on the forehead.
But
I'm
then
just
her
like,
reaction
what
was
is-
like, oh, okay.
yeah. I
But
was
he
just
seems a very forward person, and he's very affectionate as
like,
well.
he didn't
And
do
I
that
think
with anyone else, and I'm like,
Well, because he didn't wanna do
is he
Tom,
kissing-
right?
Is he
Well, I think it's
kissing
the-
her to be like, "Thank you for making him gay"?
No, I think it's. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's
He
like
didn't
a
kiss
thank
any
you
other.
for
I don't know. Like I think because
dealing
maybe
with him before or something.
maybe also because he was maybe comfortable because he says he still learned so much about her, so he knows more about her, so he's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like again, he's the type. Like I remember one that had me dying laughter. Like there's something of, not dying of laughter, but like chuckling is when he's jogging. It's like, are you trying to ditch me? And he's like, no. And he's like, okay, bye, kisses. I don't know, something about that line. I was just like, oh my gosh. It was just like, it's just like it made perfect sense coming from him.
Oh my
Oh
god.
gosh.
Once they get in the bedroom, Jeff and Josh, the whole first episode was like, I like Jeff, okay, this is an interesting character twist, okay, now this is his character, okay, we'll see where he goes. As soon as he got in the bedroom, I was like, Jeff's a fucking predator. Jeff's a fucking predator. He's trying to corrupt Josh. Get out of there, man. Because he puts on the fucking music, and the way it's lit, he's just like, looking like he was gonna try to fucking rape him. Like,
No,
I swear.
I think
I was actually sitting there being like, don't let this be this, please.
I can see where that comes from. I think it's more showing Josh's perspective because, like, he ends up coming up like, I don't want to up anything up, but I think it was just showing
which
his
is a great conversation. Of course, you're like, yeah.
yeah. And like I thought again, that's
don't
like that
have
is
to.
something a
Yeah.
conversation that would pop up. Like what?
Yeah.
Like who breaks that? Like, and I thought that was funny, and I think it was using the lighting and the music choices to accentuate his anxiety and like fear of what was happening. But like before that, like again, little moments. They're like in the beginning when they come in, they're like watching anime.
Yeah.
And then like I think Claire was like, we're watching like manga, and then Neve,
Japanese manga.
Japanese manga, and then Neve is like, actually Claire, it's anime. I'm like,
It's anime. Manga is the books.
yeah. But like even with Jeff though, like even though he's like cute and it says like, okay, bye, kisses, there's like little things that I was like, oh, you're a little bit of a like there's some deal breakers with you because when they're coming up with a date, like where do you want to go? I was like, anywhere you choose. I'm not picky or something like that. Josh is like, Vietnamese? I don't eat weird shit. Like, I was just like, damn.
Shit like that.
I was like, damn.
I had a big lunch.
Yeah.
You're not hungry? Well, then I'm not gonna eat. But you just said that you're hungry. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna eat. What should I eat too? Like, is that weird? Yeah, it's weird. Gets the water. So, the reason why I got 3 cups was because the cups are smaller than I thought. And if I got 2 cups, it would have looked like I got you a cup, but you didn't want one. So then I got 3 in case you wanted one.
But yeah, that's like,
It's like very over thoughtful.
no, but like it's
But
like
not.
I think we all met someone that is like Josh, who's like, or we are Josh. We're like, that is what happens when you take action on your overthinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Or
And,
fucking-
and yet he does things that seem the opposite as well.
Yeah, I guess like he's a weird character. You
Yeah.
can't really predict him.
Well, I mean,
I
it
really
gets to a
like-
point where you can. I don't know why.
I really like where Jeff's is like, how old are you?
That's the best line.
I'm 20. I'm 25. I'm 20. Oh, really? I thought you were older. It's my face.
Yeah. I'm the face of a 50-year-old baby.
Baby. I'm sorry. It's like,
But the thing with like,
was like, I like
I
your
like that
face. I like
he,
your
look,
face.
he looks down and he's just like, that was a joke.
yeah,
There's so many times where I've felt that way, where I say something sarcastically or whatever, and then someone's like, oh, well, okay. I'm just like, that was a joke.
Like, there's also one that was earlier. Like, I wrote it down just because I was like, huh. Like, you'd think it'd be, like, borderline offensive, but the way it talks about it, it's not. It's kind of, like, normalizing the conversation. Is when, like, Josh and Tom are just talking, and Tom's just like, you know what? I think that I would date a disabled person.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, first you're like, what? And then it was like a very open conversation about it. It's like, it's not like you're winning an award. You're not getting like a badge.
You're talking about
of-
you're talking about like your fucking hero.
But then
It's like
Jeff comes in.
yeah, and he's like, oh, my uncle's disabled, and he's a dick. And I was like,
Well,
oh.
would you date your uncle who's disabled if he was a nice person? No, I'm not gonna fucking date my uncle, Tom. Oh man, no,
But then,
I love
like,
those conversations because it's basically characters living in their own heads.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, that says so much about all of them.
Yeah,
It says so much about Tom because he's thinking about doing a hypothetical
Yeah.
and rewarding himself for thinking that he would do it. But then
Yeah.
actually believing that he would actually do the thing.
which is funny because
without actually
that's-
taking any action or having any reason to take any action.
because that's his entire existence right now.
That's sort of, yeah, him being like, I'm pleased with myself
Yeah.
for no reason.
I'm pleased with myself for thinking that I could break up with me.
Yeah.
Neve.
Ooh. I think this
But
was
I'm
really-
not going to. I want to, and this is how I reward myself. But then I don't.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has a distinct voice, and they all have ways they interact with each other. Like, I think it's back to the first episode, but I like this scene with the Pop Rocks. Where, like,
Yeah,
he was,
that
like,
was-
crying, oh, do you need anything? And he gets Pop Rocks.
Do you
and
want
he's
a
like,
lolly?
Pop Rocks is my favorite. And then, like, Tom comes in and is like, did you eat my Pop Rocks? And it's just like, it's perfect to, like, each character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Jesus Christ. So yeah. So then episode 2 is kind of more encapsulated with itself. I guess by the end, Josh and Jeff's relationship is like Josh has fully accepted it.
But there's nice parallels, though. Like, I noticed that in the beginning, what's the dad's name? Al? No. Alan? No. Whatever, Josh's dad.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like-
it is Alan.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Alan comes in, and he's like, oh, mate, I'm just going to drop you off here. She doesn't know
Oh,
us about us.
Yeah, that.
And then and it was like, oh, I love that she's like, I get it. Like, there's no drama. It's just, I get it.
yeah,
And then
it's
what
the same place.
And then the thing is, though, Josh does it at the same time, but I like how Josh has some growth in that he, like, comes back for him, and, like, he just goes on to showing affection. And I thought that was a nice parallel, showing the differences between, like, storytelling wise, it's a nice parallel between these two characters, father and son, and how different they are when it comes to kind of showing affection. Like, one just worries, while the other one worries, but sometimes he just does. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it episode 2 where Josh's mom and Aunt Peg get drunk?
I think
Or was that
might be,
episode 3?
I think that might be 3
Sort
or
of
2.
like what their relationship is. I like that it's like weird. That relationship is really weird.
Peg
In the
and-
very
Yeah.
beginning, it's
It's
like,
like-
no, we hate each other,
but they love each other.
But they love each other
It's like,
because
it's
they
like
hate
if
each
you're
other.
depressed, like, how are you going to not get depressed if you can't drink? Something like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
You're like, that's funny. It's
Or
like
the- or it's like-
the religious thing is weird.
You gotta stop
But
being.
the rest of it is like a regular normal.
You gotta
person.
stop being sad. I'm not sad. I'm depressed.
Yeah. But, like, I like what they did with Aunt Peg, because, like, I love how they played with people's first impressions. Because I thought it was, like, because, like, for me, like, I guess why the show's so good is because, like, I guess no matter who you are, you should be able to find at least, like, one thing you could relate to. Because, like, even with the religion thing, like, when someone, like, name drops, like, religious figures in, like, regular conversation, sometimes I'm just like, oh, okay, let's put a little bit of wall up,
Yeah,
just try
yeah.
to protect myself, make sure I don't say anything. But then, like, sometimes they go and surprise you. Like, you realize that, like, you do have your biases when it comes to religion. And I thought they did it nicely with Aunt Peg, because immediately they make her really scary with her, like, I guess it's good to go third, because, like,
Yeah.
because like the church thing, you're gonna see
Yeah.
you in church.
Yeah.
I was like, it's because when someone says that, you're like, oh gosh, they
Yeah.
go to church. That means a whole lot of things. Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
I did not expect that beginning. Like not the like the only reason why I'm taking you here is to go, so then I can get you and your mother to go to church. It's like, yeah, and like take it to the party, and then the fact that Josh immediately is just on Jeff, and then Peg comes back. I thought it was going to be a whole different reaction.
Yeah.
But I love that it was just like, does your father know about this? No. Well, looks like you have a reason to come to church now.
And I think that small detail with that, it's honest about the relationship too, because it seems like right at that point, it's very physical.
It's funny that she did not then, because the whole rest of the episode, I was like, well, does Josh's mom know?
But then you find out more later
Peg
on.
didn't tell anyone.
No.
Yeah.
She just kept that shit to herself, especially after the fact that she drove away. Josh then started making out with Jeff, then took off his shirt.
Yeah.
And then there, standing in the fucking driveway, is your nephew making out with a half-naked man.
Yeah, I like that. I like that it wasn't, like, if it was gonna do the whole, like, getting caught, it went, like, far out and awkward, like, in a please like me way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, it did it, if it was gonna do something kind of, like, plotty, it did it in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, in the beginning, like we mentioned earlier, the whole title sequence things.
Yeah.
The beginning of this one is,
He breaks the wall, does he?
yeah, he's singing towards the camera. He's
Yeah.
singing parts of it while he's making
I think this is the only time he breaks the wall.
Portuguese custard tarts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was at this point where I'm watching, I'm like, this guy loves making this show. This guy really loves making this show. I'm sure, like, he was just like, yeah, we'll just do it for this episode or whatever.
Yeah,
And,
you
like,
can- yeah.
you can tell he loves
Like,
making
you can
this
tell
show.
this is not half-assed.
No.
Like, every bit of love goes in the show, and you could
Yeah.
feel that love.
No, it's
This is also the episode where
hard. He gets all this love for the show, and then the show doesn't go on forever. What's the point?
But if you're
he-
going to continue it, it's a good ending.
Oh,
he said when I was like looking up the show, it said like, and yeah, the fourth season was this, and then at the beginning of 2017, when people asked like, is there going to be a fifth one, he said no, we ended, and I'm happy where it ended.
Yeah.
This is the episode where his dad gets a Porsche.
Great.
Oh,
Great. This is when
so silly.
This is when I want to say May is great.
Yeah, May is
Do you remember
great.
her line there? It's like, we're like, honey, you should get the car. It's like, oh, women don't know cars. And she's like, oh, excuse me. Sorry for speaking out of turn. Oh, you know, it must be my uterus. It's distracting me. I was just like, oh, it's so great.
I do like
it's a
that
great
Josh
line.
also says a line about like,
You look old.
no, it's that, but he says the guy says something about his hair, and Josh just immediately goes, yeah, you know, kids today with their hair. It's something like that.
I was going to say, like,
But it's funny because it's like, you can see the sort of, like, his dad slowly falling apart. And that's
Yeah.
one thing. It's always a midlife crisis where it's like,
Yeah.
I like
I've
that,
worked my entire life. I deserve to get this.
I like that his dad's fairly stereotypical in that way.
Mhm.
He's like, I'm gonna get a Porsche.
Yeah.
He's got, like, you know, slightly more like thought out reasons.
yeah.
Not really. It's still pretty impulsive, but I like that May is she's always sort of willing to put up with a certain amount of his shit.
Yeah.
But it did get me, like, there throughout these 3 episodes in particular, like, sometimes I'm like, what does she see in him?
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, he's like, they have a date in this episode.
Yeah.
And, like, she has her hair done and everything, and then, like, there's that
He's
line.
not looking at her at all. He's just paying attention.
Or, like, he's,
to
like,
his
drinking,
plate.
and it's like, oh, no, you're driving, remember? I was like, oh.
No,
But, like-
he's like, the waiter comes in and asks for if they want another round, and
Yeah.
he speaks up for her.
Yeah.
And so he's
Yeah.
like,
And I was like,
oh no, she won't have it. She's
But, like-
driving. I'll have another. And then she just like smiles like,
Yeah.
oh, lemonade.
Yeah. But there's one good line she has in there. It's like, you look like shit. Thank goodness I have a good imagination. I was like, oh. Like, the thing is, like, I want to point out with this show as well is that, like, in other shows sometimes, like, like depending on gender, certain roles are underwritten. Like this one, everyone's, whether you're like whoever you are, you're showing at your most pathetic, you're showing at your best. Like it doesn't shy away from all facets of a person's character. Like there are times when you think Josh is an ass, but then there's times you think Josh is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Tom can be an ass.
Oh yeah. He's mostly an ass.
Mostly an ass. What did Neve do? Did
Well, I don't
Neve do
know.
anything in this? Oh, she did definitely do anything towards the end.
Yeah. Because then, let's see, so...
What else did I write?
No, yeah, I wrote poor May, because it was one of those conversations between the two of them that's clearly just like... All he clearly wants to talk about is this stuff. She's fine with it, but she knows that he'd be happier if he just couldn't. And that's a very common kind of thing between someone who's distraught over something and the person that's in their life that's not directly affected by it, other than the person that is distraught over it. And it's like, I don't care about this, but I care about you, and you really care about this. And so I just felt bad for her, because it's a common thing where it's like, yeah, of course he was married to her for, however many years, and he's worried. She just wishes that, that the attention would finally be on her for once.
Yeah.
So it's a very real feeling and emotion, and
Like it's
the
just,
actress who plays May is just brilliant at performing that.
it's like a weird show where it's like you kind of don't mind like being in their circle of friends. Like it's hard to actually do that with characters to actually connect on that level, and like for some reason he manages to do it. Yeah, this Josh, the creator himself, manages to do it, and then I'm just like amazed. Like what else? Even like what else? Like,
Well,
even
then-
oh, go ahead.
Well, then they're at the party, and they start having the conversation about what's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to your testicle, or happened to your testicles, or genitals. That's the word I was looking for. Genitals. The genitals. And all of a sudden, Neve just comes out with just like, chlamydia?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that the whole time I'm like, after that came out, the whole time I'm trying to track. I'm like, which one of them? Like, do they still have it? Because in my head, I was like, they're gonna break up soon, and Tom and Claire are gonna hook up. But if he has chlamydia, are they? And then later when they're in the shower, she actually says like, and how's the chlamydia? She's just like, it's cleared up. It's cleared up. But so they start talking about that, and she does Neve does the putting down Tom in front of his friends and everything, and he finally says it's over.
Yeah.
And she leaves, and I was just the whole time I'm just writing down like, I want to punch her in the face. Just being such shit to him. I think it's either Claire or someone else says something very poignant in that conversation, and I forget what the fuck it was. One of them points out like her biggest flaw, and that it's just like, you're doing it in front of his friends, and they're all just sitting there.
Oh, I think that's Claire. Claire's sort of awful. Yeah.
Everyone,
At
like,
moments.
I think, like I said, everyone has their good and their
Yeah.
bad, but that's just entirely human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Like,
that is-
even,
that is
like-
just like cold.
I think as though, honestly, even with Tom and Neve, like a part of me looks at them, and then sometimes I'm like, you guys, I can see why you're together, because you're that type of relationship that deserve one another, and you're codependent. Because like they like, it's like a weirdly abusive relationship, but not in an outright set. Because like I'm sure like Tom probably like belittles and like probably makes fun of like with Josh, and like maybe she feels that too, and that's why she's like, it's like always some like power grab where like someone has to be better. Like I feel like when they break up early onwards, like she's trying to set it up so she can be the one to break up rather than him.
Yeah, in episode 2, it's like I really thought that she was gonna break up and he was just gonna be like
Sweet, free.
sweet. Yeah, no, I agree. But and she said,
And then
like,
Claire came in, and then she was just like,
she
yeah.
calls her mom calls her and has that conversation in front of him, which I thought was like, okay, this is again being like, her mom's saying like you need to leave him, which is really funny that that's how this is going. And then she says, I don't deserve to be with someone like this. And his response is, I don't think so either. And it's kind of a stalemate or whatever. And then she says something and he says, well, I'll do better. And then gets the door. She calls her mom and says, no, we talked about it and he sees how he's wrong.
It's weird. Like, it's so, like, you watch it, like, it's so dysfunctional, but, like, no, I could see it happening.
Yeah.
You're like, no,
Yeah.
but
And what's funny and terrible when you think of a bigger thing, as soon as she leaves, after Tom breaks up with her, as soon as she leaves and they're all sitting there, they're all just kind of like, you can tell they're all just like, this feels better.
Yeah. But even when she leaves, it's
Which
like,
is like, that's really mean, but I get that.
yeah.
but she leaves, the chair falls, she leaves it. I'm like, yeah, that's you. That's what you would do. and then she sends a text message that's just terrible. And I'm like, yeah, it seems like appropriate to her.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As soon as that text message and it's just the two of them sitting there, I was like, it's going to happen. This is going to happen.
But the thing that's crazy about this episode, up until this point, it's been pretty focused on, like, I guess.
Well,
like,
this is like the B story. The A story is hilarious.
but there's multiple. Like, I think there's more than A and B. Like, I felt like I was juggling, like, 5 things and 5, like, so many characters.
If this is where Josh's mom and aunt get drunk, then yeah.
Because, like, I think that's what it is. There's Josh and
I think so.
Aunt Peg and the mom. There's May and the father. There's Jeff and, like, Josh and their own thing that they're going through, having to come out. Then there's Aunt Peg and Josh and they're dealing with. Like, there's, like, 4. And then there's Tom and Neve.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? Like, when I was
And then
watching.
there's Tom and Claire.
Yeah, and then when I was watching this, it's like, how did you. Like, I don't notice it, but now I'm watching it again. I'm like, how did you balance all of this and not make it feel so all over the place?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
did
what
it
we
feel all
didn't-
over the place? It didn't.
Never.
No,
Yeah,
it really
never.
didn't. Well, what we didn't say is that then what happens is they have the party. Tom breaks up with Neve, and then May walks out on
Yeah, Alan.
Alan. I don't even know if that's actually his, I think that's his name. I don't know.
We'll find
On
out.
Josh's dad at dinner. So then he calls Josh and asks him to pick him up, and Jeff is trying to be like the good, like no, I want to meet your family. I want to move forward, and so does that. So then they go and pick him up.
Ooh, side
And-
note. Oh,
and-
sorry.
I love that thing though.
What
The like drunk dad being like, I fucked up.
Yeah. Well, he
Don't
was
hit
like,
me.
he was like pissing, about to piss into like a lake.
I was like,
the
ocean.
No, we have to get my car because it's really important. Well, where'd you leave it?
I don't know.
I don't know. And then finally, he pisses off the pier. They go find him.
Is it weird? There's this, for some reason, I tend to like. I find something very dramatic and very nice about scenes where they have to hail a cab. Like, there's something about them that are always interesting.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of dynamics to play with. Like, they're first having to continue conversation.
Yeah.
But then also being able to distract yourself by trying to hail a cab.
Oh, and then
there's
that-
something very unique about that setting that I'm always so intrigued by. I don't know what it is.
And then this is also where we find out that, or well, I don't know if we find it out because I don't know the rest of the series.
Yeah.
But there's a little hint that Jeff is a little racist.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of hints. There's a lot.
Well,
of hints.
I'm sure eventually, but like from this, it's just the what's the line again? It's what was it? Something about Asians. Was that it?
I don't know. I remember the Vietnamese, and he doesn't eat weird shit.
There's that, but then there's something when he's trying to hail the cab and he says, "Oh, I once dated a."
I can't remember.
He says, "I once dated something." He's like, "But I'm not I'm not racist." And it just keeps saying like, "I swear I'm not racist."
Right.
And Josh is just like, "It's okay." And he's just like, "No, but I swear I'm not racist.
And when that happens, like, I think you are the fact that you have to defend yourself. But the funny
Oh no,
thing,
it's because they're talking about May, and it's because he says, "Oh, she's some mail order bride,"
no,
and he's some mail order bride, and he's like, and Josh is kind of like, no, I mean she's genuinely interested in my dad, and he's like, oh no, that was just a joke. I'm, I don't know. I dated an Asian. I swear I'm not racist.
that's why I like their Jeff character, because they make someone that's like attractive, and then like they put a really realistic flaw in him.
Yeah.
And that he's nice and he's affectionate, but he's a little racist.
Yeah. And then the two kind of bigger scenes until the very ending of the episode, which is sitting in the car wash because his dad's car gets egged, and it's clear that Jeff is really into cars too, and connects with his dad, but then they go through the car wash, and then that's where Jeff outs Josh to his dad. And I love the sitting in the back. I love that he's sitting in the back seat for the entire thing.
Everything
just
about
it's like, oh, talking to him, and he's like, yeah, I'm gay, and he's just like,
surprise.
Okay. Yeah. I always thought, I thought that Josh was gay, theater and stuff. And then she's like, no, he is. I'm his boyfriend. And then Josh's dad just like turns, and Josh is just like sitting there and, surprise.
Yes. Like, I thought that scene, like, it was just like, again, it's one of those moments I'm just like freaking jealous, because like the way they set it up. Mm-hmm. The fact that they made it in a way they can't escape. Yeah. I was like, this is like a perfect scene to set up. And also they had that conflict already brewing about like you can tell Jeff wants to tell, right? So they have it building so that when that happens, it's earned. And also they don't like dramatize to the point, because like having someone else out you, I thought would be like a conflict, like a really big one. But like they managed to bypass it, but end up being more of like maybe a later reveal of like Josh's feelings for Jeff, because like there's so many things with Jeff, you're like, why are they together?
Yeah because then it goes on to the protection conversation.
That was funny.
And Josh's dad's just like, 30% of males are more likely to die of AIDS, like gay males are more likely to die of AIDS. Josh is in the back like, Dad, I don't think that's not, you just made up that statistic.
That's definitely one of those remnants from the 80s.
Yeah. And then 90s. Jeff is all,
and then Jeff is just like, we have not engaged in penetrative sex yet. Great. But when we do, I promise you that we will wear protection. And Jeff's dad, Josh's dad, is like, good.
Yeah. I like his reaction.
Josh is just in the back like. And then
there was a line that the dad said that I was like, yeah. When he's like, other dads would have like beat you up or something.
Yeah, it's like I'm a pretty good dad. Yeah. Other dads would have beaten you.
And I was like, in my head I was like, you know what? That's a point.
It's like,
it's a point.
It's not a good. It's not a great point.
But like, yeah.
You're better than shitty people.
Yeah.
And then, just to wrap up the episode, the entire gang. Oh, they come back to the flat, interrupting.
Yeah,
Claire and Tom in the shower. The drunk dad gets on the piano, then gets in the hot tub.
But before that, this is the one time I was like, you know what? Usually a fart joke is juvenile. But in this one, I was like, not make sense. He's like drunk, walks past, farts, and I'm like, usually this is like the lowest common denominator for humor. But I'm like,
isn't that he walks by, farts, sits down to play the piano, and he says, "Whoops, sorry," and then you see Jeff and Claire both like start to break laughing.
Yeah. Because I'm like, it could have been lowbrow humor, but like no. Like, we had someone that's been drunk that much.
Also, could have been not planned.
Oh, shit.
It could also
have just been
totally
the actor
improv.
farted. It was like, sorry.
Yeah. And then it was the hot tub scene where it's Jeff and Josh's dad cracked me up just because they seemed like they were getting really into each other.
Yeah.
Like, just with like, and they're like yelling at each other because the bubbles are too loud. I'm just like, because you really deserve that car. Fads are,
Yeah, he was saying some very new agey stuff.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, oh. But then if you're going back to how pretty it looks, how they shot that was like it was Josh and Tom inside the house boarded in there, and then it was Josh's dad and Jeff together in the hot tub separate, and like again they created that distance, and like that's like a purpose for that.
Yeah. And so then next morning comes, they wake up, Josh wakes up early because he's like, I have to go to church because otherwise...
That was like, did you find that a sweet scene? Like I found the fact that like wouldn't you want to have like everyone envisions as a one where like you wake up with your friends and you're like, hey guys, you want to come to church with me? Like I know it sucks, but but they do it because like they're part of something, and like there's something very touching about that.
I love that he's like, Tom's on board, Jeff's on board, Claire's on board, and they're like, what about your dad? And then the dad wakes up and he's like walks out, and then it shows all of them at church, and behind them is Peg and his mom. I'm just surprised that the mom's just like, not like my ex-husband who I have not seen at all yet since I tried to commit suicide is right there. I know who this person is. I haven't seen any of his friends because it's true. Haven't seen any of his friends since. It's kind of nonchalant, and then Peg's whole spiel about, that Josh is gay and that.
Ooh, but how scary was the slap though? That it was like a misdirect.
Yeah,
for
slapping
me.
the back of
when they were like about to touch hands,
Jeff's
and she
head.
just slaps him. I was like, whoa, scary.
But it was a good speech. Specifically for me, I'm just like, I don't like these kind of scenes. It's like the revelation, but there was no real character development for her. She did the slap.
Yeah,
but then minutes later, she's like, if he wants to be gay, then I should support that, and the church should too.
It was like, okay. Well, it was a little like when I still think about it, I was like, she went from a slap to that. Yeah. It's a pretty like hard turn.
But it's also...
But then in my head, part of me feels like the reality probably might be different, but this is like a fictional world, and in my head it's like, well, like fuck that. I'm just gonna make what a world that I want. And
I think it also could have been like, if you're listening to the pastor's like words, he's basically being like, and they will be damned to hell. Yeah, and he's like saying the worst of the worst about like homophobe, like homophobe.
Yeah, it's the public speech thing is always a bit awkward, but that does seem pretty Peg-like to be in a group of righteous people to be more righteous than them.
It's arguable that it might fit her
and assert yourself into it, like the way that she asserted herself onto
this place.
Yeah, basically.
Because I love my grandson, nephew.
I don't know.
She says grandson, but then she realizes that that's not actually true, that she's his aunt. But anyways.
Well, that's the thing. They call her Aunt Peg, but I think it's vaguely...
Wait, so was there a turning point when he was condemning them to hell?
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. You can. I forget if there's a shot where you can see her be like, then she stands up.
Gets obviously uncomfortable with the whole arrangement.
Yeah. It was, if anything, even though it seemed like out of nowhere, it was pleasant in the fact that they, again, I think I was going back to that they made me believe that she was this person, and then surprised me that it was my judgment and my biases making me believe that she would be that person.
Yeah. And then good old Tom getting a call in the middle of it, leaving, that whole thing happening, and then them leaving the church. I really like the exchange between
Josh,
his mom, and Jeff. I think that's a really funny exchange where it's like,
but you're so handsome.
Like, no, but it's the whole like, yeah, I would have told you. Like, I already knew. Like, don't worry, it doesn't change anything. I was like, okay, like the one person you think would be like, gave no shits about it, which is great. And then he's like, you're so handsome, and turns to her own son and goes, but you're so what? And then immediately turns to Tom, like, Tom, change the conversation. And he's just like, okay. Neve is pregnant. Bomb drop, cliffhanger, end of episode, boom.
Yeah, I guess it was earned. Like
Yeah.
initially, I was like, "Oh, I hate when they do stuff like this," but then I know why they write stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if anything,
I kind of also figured something. Like, as soon as he got a phone call, I was like,
if anything, they foreshadowed it by the fact that, like, do you think it was already that windy, or was it a choice to make it seem like a storm was brewing outside of the church? Because it's kind of like really windy and kind of stuff.
I didn't really pick up on that.
I can't
I
remember.
mean, there's like little details. They're like,
Yeah.
is this?
It's what is real? I mean,
Yeah.
probably it was just the weather.
Yeah, but like it added to the point like something is brewing, and then you find that's not the whole like whatever is gonna go down with him and our peg was actually more of a Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see. Like it's easy to see why people binge it, but then also I know people that don't like it because they find Josh annoying.
They continue to find him annoying?
Yeah, or they can't. I guess it's one of the ones you have to give it a chance. It's
Yeah.
true that you have to give it a chance.
You gotta let these characters build on you a little bit, which is why I didn't just...
Do one.
Well, yeah, which is why I didn't just do one and why I didn't just do, like, 2 or 3.
No, yeah, it's
different.
It fits.
Because they're so condensed. Like, each season,
Yeah.
you know,
And
I
it's
mean,
a
as you
serial.
saw, it's sort of like 3... That's the whole arc.
Yeah.
Like, there's 3 episodes of him coming out to a whole family,
yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, basically.
And
And then it ends on a cliffhanger.
nobody
of
gives a
what-
shit in the end.
of what the next possible thing is going to be.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, it was a really smart selection.
Mhm.
It
Sure
definitely
thing-
got me
Yeah.
hooked.
Yeah.
The thing is
And
though,
see,
like
and then
it will
you'll
get
get
you.
some other
It
people
will
watch
get you
it?
in the feels, man. Did it get you in the feels?
It'll get you all over.
Yeah, because when it hit the like second season, like stuff
In the
happened.
first episode, you're like, what?
Yeah. I think what was the season? I think the second season towards the end of that, man, the feels hurt. Third season, fourth season, all feels. Like it's like how many shows have that
Continues to be
effect?
funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not that many shows like can actually be poignant.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
compared to This Is Us. Have you guys seen This Is Us? It's a show with like Mandy Moore and like it's on NBC.
No.
It's just
That's
it's
poignant?
No, it's like it's more of like very soap opera
Yeah.
and very like pulling your heartstring, and you could see it pulling.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's nice to see something, but successful.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's nice to see something that's not as like on the nose.
Mm.
Yeah, most things are right on the nose.
Yeah, that's what I like. Even though it's not... I mean, sort of to cap it off. Actually, there's... yeah, even though it's not, like, necessarily always realistic,
Yeah,
it seems like they've taken basically a decade and condensed all the events.
yeah,
Like, to like, very well represent at least what the feeling of that time of life is.
no, yeah, I would say,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, I think it's the only show that like tackles head-on mental illness. Like it's a focus. It's not something that's like brushed off. It's like a day-to-day focus.
Mm-hmm.
Also, another really good show that's different in a lot of ways, but still gets the poignancy, is Uncle by the BBC.
Oh, I haven't watched that. I was always like, is it?
It's
Like-
it's much higher in terms of like the ridiculous things happening,
Oh, okay.
but it'll still get you.
Never heard of it.
It's funny.
There's some good things about BBC.
I like it because I'm an uncle.
Aw. I didn't mind.
In a bit of a fuck up one.
Ooh.
Have you seen Lovesick or Scrotal Recall?
No, sorry, it was the other one. I tried to watch Love.
Oh, I hate that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like watching it. I'm like, these people are. We thought these people are terrible and Please Like Me.
I know.
They are terrible to the
No
extreme.
redeeming qualities, I
Yeah.
think. But no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Scrotal Recall.
Scrotal Recall and Crashing aren't that bad.
But they just changed, like, Lovesick is Scrotal Recall, right?
Yeah. It's not bad.
I
It's
don't know
like on par if you want recommendation
these.
plus Please Like Me. I think Crashing and maybe Scrotal Recall. I mean, Lovesick are
Right.
close, a little more dramatized, but
I was
close.
going to say, I like What's Her Face, the one that was in Misfits.
Misfits. Oh, I can't remember her name.
Yeah. Actually, I really like Misfits. That's another thing to watch, like, the first 2 seasons of and then stop immediately.
Because
Like, it could be builds up to this awesome place, and you're like, yes, 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 and then always it just fails to deliver.
yeah.
You're like, damn it.
That's why like, okay, this guy like Josh did 4 seasons, And no, I wouldn't say there's any stickers.
No,
Like not an episode like Kirk, you wouldn't do that.
there's a bottle episode of Christmas Dinner that I'm like, but that's about it.
Yeah. But a great ending. Watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will.
All right.
No, I like it. It was, it's a very funny show. I will say, like, I'm always very surprised by either Australian, and earlier you're like, yeah, it's word of mouth, and I feel the same way about Summer Heights High and like those shows where it's like, it's from there. Really good comedies and really great, really well-made shows that you just don't hear about here. Unless just word of mouth.
Well, these are the
somehow.
good Australian shows.
Yeah.
They're also really bad Australian
Yeah,
shows.
Oh, I'm
Sure.
sure. But yeah.
I would love it if Canada could put out something like this.
There was one that I liked at the time, but when I watched it, I was like, man, she's still a little bit privileged. Like, I liked being Erica at the time when it
Right.
came on, but, like, there's some points. Like, it's poignant at times. Later seasons have legit product placement. Like, legit, like, she is parking a car. They're telling her the brand of car and how great it is that it can park itself. And there's another scene where
Lovely.
she's like, "Oh, Tetley tea infusions. Do you like them? Let me pour you one." And like, so that's why with that show,
Oh,
I was
man.
like, it's good and poignant, but then it loses some of its stuff because I don't know. Like, I guess Kim's Convenience, CBC.
Yeah, but that's totally different.
What in like poignancy wise?
Well, it's actually I haven't really kept up recently. They do season 2 out?
no, this
No.
is one season. Yeah.
Okay, I think I've finished it.
Yeah.
That must be
It's
why I'm not watching it.
quieter.
Currently.
I find.
There are moments, but they're not as cohesive.
I don't know why we don't do. I don't know what is it. Like, why come we don't have like a Please Like Me or like a.
Well, there's so many reasons. of
Although
that.
Please Like
oh,
Me,
there's so many
Please Like
instances of that.
Me was on CBC.
It was on CBC.
It was on CBC. There was like, if you went to Toronto sometimes, they would have a billboard that said "Please Like Me" on CBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that was interesting. Like it's
I
a
don't know.
CBC kind of show. I
Yeah.
guess. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to one day find a bunch of Canadian shows that I was like, yeah, guys, I'm gonna recommend you to watch this Canadian thing next time.
I think
Well,
it's also
identity issues we
in-
have.
I also think it's, to finish this off, I think it's the ratings. Because Summer Heights High and Please Like Me, like they obviously have like a hard 14A with a bit of an R with, you know, language and stuff. While you wouldn't really be able to pass that here, I don't think, really.
TV. We need to be less stupid about things.
Yeah.
Let's just be ourselves. Get rid of ratings if there's a cuss word.
Or you get to
deal
be-
with it.
Or you get to be on online streaming like Letterkenny,
Yeah, that's true.
because then you can do it that way.
Yeah.
So people choose to watch you, not
Yeah.
have to be syndicated. And
I know.
shit.
I mean, it's true.
It's
Like,
gonna be
as
that way
long
soon.
as you tell a good story and it's not. I mean, people should like word of mouth will eventually reach you if it's a really good story.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, if you haven't seen Please Like Me, it's on Netflix, the entire thing, so watch it. I'm going to continue watching it for sure. And yeah, so thank you for listening to the Unknown Air podcast. So next week, it's me again. And I decided, I thought about it, and you know what we originally said when we were doing this thing? We're like, oh yeah, we'll make each other watch movies and TV.
Other things.
And other things. You know what? We're doing that other thing.
What's the other thing?
I'm going to make you guys listen to an album.
Ooh.
Ooh,
It's
which
one of my favorite albums ever,
Don't say
by one of my
Eagles.
favorite bands ever. It is Costello Music by the Fratellis.
I
Okay.
do not. Do you know?
And
I don't know.
Genre.
they're an Irish rock band.
Oh.
Kind of like alt.
It'll be interesting to see how we're gonna like review that
It's.
or discuss our feelings.
I don't really know what to. One of the songs you may recognize because it was on an iTunes commercial for a long time.
Okay.
But it's one of my favorite albums ever. Like, I rate my favorite artists if I can listen to an album front to back. We might also just talk about them because they're an interesting band and not huge, but you know they have a number of albums, and this one in particular was their first one, and it kind of set the bar. Also, some interesting stuff with the album that I'll send you guys in links because there's many different versions of the album, which is kind of interesting, depending on where you lived at the time.
Was it like take off your pants and jacket?
No, it's
Where you get a different random bonus song?
no, yeah, sort of. There was 4 different regions got 4 different songs.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, so we'll be listening to that and talking about it, which will be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to talk about music and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Screw these visuals.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, how does this make you feel?
Yeah. Or what'd you think? Yeah. So yeah.
I liked
so
the lyrics
I couldn't understand them.
so hey, let us know what you think about Please Like Me, and for next week, listen to that album and comment below and then let us know about it and what you think about it. And as always, you can listen to the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, Stitcher, anywhere you find podcasts. And if there's one that you use and we're not on it, let us know and we'll put it on it. And if you can always get the podcast a week early on our Patreon. Patreon.com/unknownairfilms, where you can support us making things better, upping our quality, doing all that stuff. It really helps us out. And you can also get our exclusive after podcast show, Friendly Banter, where we just talk about random stuff. You get that on there.
Random.
It's fun and be a part of it. So, yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.